Okay, hi, welcome to Floral Friday. I'm Jenny, I'm an ethnobotanist, and today we're going to look at this lovely plant, which unfortunately I just snapped off by mistake. Unfortunately, it's not a rare plant. So this plant is Rose Periwinkle, or Vinca major. It belongs to the family called Apocinaceae, and Apocinaceae is a family group that you'll find in many different habitats around the world. So you'll find it in Europe, and you'll find it in tropical regions, and you'll find it subtropical regions. You'll have trees, and you'll have vines, and you'll have shrubs, and you'll have plants like this, perennial plants in that family group. Apocinaceae, the leaves are opposite, as you can see here, and desiccate, which basically means that they go opposite one way and then the other, like this, as they're going up the stem. And that is so they can optimize their ability to photosynthesize. They also have their leaves as a funnel, so their petals as a funnel, and these are allegedly therefore lobes rather than petals. And there are 5 lobes, and then the calyx underneath are in there's 5 sepals, which collectively are called a calyx. If you look into the flower head of the rose periwinkle, you can actually see in the base, what you're seeing is the back of the anthers, so the hairy back of the anthers, which are joined down back into the tube, and then underneath that you'll see the style, which goes down to the ovary. It's got a really interesting morphological arrangement inside the flower head. If you look at the sepals on the back of the flowers, you'll see hairs, and also if you look here on the back of the leaves, you'll see slight hairs, not on the back of the leaves, sorry, on the edge of the leaves, you'll see hairs too, so there's hairs on the edge of the leaves. And this is generally used as a garden plant. But the reason why I wanted to look at it today with you is whenever I see this plant, it reminds me of the huge value of conserving our biodiversity on Earth. Because we're losing biodiversity, as many of you know, at such a huge rate, and therefore many habitats at a huge rate. We're also losing traditional knowledge at a huge rate and how people use plants. Now, this plant has had a lot of traditional uses, as had its relative, the Catharanthus rosea, which is the Madagascan periwinkle, which looks very similar. We won't get that growing in the UK because it needs to grow in hot climates. In the Second World War, when soldiers in the Philippines were running short of insulin, diabetic soldiers were running short of insulin, they went on the back of traditional knowledge of local people who were using the rose periwinkle to the Madagascan periwinkle as a substitute for insulin. As a result, Canadian scientists after the war did some research on this plant, and they found in this plant really novel alkaloids, and particularly vincristine and vinblastrin, which have now been used in Western medicine to help with various cancers, and in particular childhood leukemia. So in the 1960s, if you were a child that had leukemia, you had apparently a 10% chance of surviving. Now, thanks to vincristine and vinblastrin, the alkaloids found in Madagascan periwinkle, the relative of this plant, children have an 80 to 90% chance of survival. So the interesting issues that are brought up by finding these novel alkaloids in medicinal plants is to do with something called biopiracy, which very pharmaceutical companies are quite nervous about now, because the pharmaceutical companies that isolated the alkaloids have obviously benefited from that financially. But the countries from which these plants come from, like Madagascar, and the people who held that traditional knowledge, did they benefit financially from the isolation of these alkaloids and then being used in Western medicine? So now many scientists, and particularly Kew down in London, are doing a lot of work on supporting a mutual exchange, or when there is research into plants in different parts of the world, that the local communities from which these plants come from also benefit financially if there is any gain to be had from using these plants medicinally. This is Vinca major, which is a relative of the Madagascan periwinkle, and a lovely plant to notice and appreciate. So enjoy. Can't say no animals or plants were harmed in this video, I'm afraid. That's not true, this one was. Anyway, I will take it home and put it in a little pot and enjoy it for a bit longer. See you next week.